last episode you really spoke to being part of Machel's team. You are a backup dancer for Machel Montano. What happened this year? Where were you? What is the story behind that? I know you've not spoken about that too much anywhere else, so now is your
Yeah.
chance.
For like my core followers, I feel like everyone that follows me closely would know that I've expanded my family. I feel
Right?
like part of my journey, apart from like seeing the world and spreading my talent and spreading my wings and stuff like that. A big part of me wanted to start a family.
Right?
Really get to where I want to be in that part of my life. I have a new daughter. She's 2 months old, and there was a little clash between, her being born and Carnival. And I've never missed a Carnival in my life. So, but without question, without a doubt, family first. And I had to put Carnival aside and everything else aside just to be there for my family.
This episode was recorded on Riverside.fm. Log on today to start your own podcasting journey. Yo, Maz, welcome back to the Game Changers podcast. How are you doing, man?
What's up, Quinn? What's up? MarZ is back in the building, baby. Let's go, everybody. What's up? What's up? Hello.
So happy to have you back here. So happy to hear about your improvements, your growth, your development, and have a conversation, this time more on the business end and so that people can learn more about Mars, the businessman. Because, we kind of touched on it a little bit last time, but we didn't really dig into the honest truth about this business. And I really want you to share some about this time.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Of course. I
All
feel
right.
like growth is inevitable.
For sure, and we're happy for it. All
Yeah,
right,
man.
bro. So just before we begin, before we get into it, just remind my audience, maybe some of them who didn't watch the first episode, just a little bit about who Mars is.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy MarZ ZeroGravity, your favorite dancer from the islands, favorite stunt performer from the islands. I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. Big up TNT. Currently, I live in Canada, and I'm doing my thing in Toronto and really, trying to make a stamp and put Trinidad on the map, on a global scale. So your boy's in the building.
Got you. All right, bro. So tell us a little bit about what you do. Now, last episode you really spoke to being part of Machel's team. You are a backup dancer for Machel Montano.
Yeah, man.
But something shifted this year. What happened this year? Where were you? What is the story behind that? I know you've not spoken about that too much anywhere else, so now is your
Yeah.
chance to go ahead and speak about
I
it. Tell
mean,
us where you were.
for like my core followers, I feel like everyone that follows me closely would know that I've expanded my family. I feel
Right?
like part of my journey, apart from like seeing the world and spreading my talent and spreading my wings and stuff like that. A big part of me wanted to start a family.
Right?
Really get to where I want to be in that part of my life. And well, I expanded my family. I have a new daughter. She's 2 months old, and there was a little clash between, her being born and
Mm-hmm.
Carnival. And I've never missed a Carnival in my life. So, but without question, without a doubt, family first. And I had to put Carnival aside and everything else aside just to be there for my family. To be there for my family, I just wanted to be present, and I think that is my 2026 resolution, is to be present. So,
For sure.
yeah,
For
man.
sure. Okay, so you would have stopped touring because of that. So you would have stopped touring because of the family, and like what kind of dynamics
Yeah,
does
I feel
this
like,
this new addition add to your life, or maybe take away from your life as well?
yeah,
Yeah.
no, I've been touring since like 2014, 2015,
Right.
um, till now, till like up until like the ending of last year. And that's a lot of time out of my life to invest into, really spreading my wings and enjoying my craft and enjoying my talent and, taking Trinidad and Tobago to the world with Machel Montano and the Monk team and, really, really being a part of that movement. But as my family expanded, I
Mm-hmm.
think Marcel really wanted to like shrink down his team as well.
Got you.
Like there's other dancers that are doing other things and involved in other things and making different career choices and turning things in different directions. Because I feel like again we've been doing this for a very long time, so
Right.
um, it's different stage of life for everybody. And for me, that's what it is. Marshall's team has gotten smaller. My team has gotten bigger. So just a shift in focus, And like I don't like the term setback. I like step forward. You
Right.
know? Yeah, that's pretty
Got you.
much.
So, but that was, I mean, I understand why you had to do it, but that is a massive risk, though. Having to step away from, an established core team that you were an integral part of for such a long time.
Mhm.
Business wise, how did you know that this was the right transition to make?
Well, I feel like over the years of investing my time on the stage, I've also invested my time into networking and trying to
Hmm.
really build a foundation for myself to stand up on as well. Um, and like my brand and my personality and who I am on the stage, I really like invested in that over the years to a point where I feel like it's now able to stand alone. Not really stand alone, but like I'm ready to dive into what my bag looks like artistically,
Right.
what my
Right.
creative process is like, because after you invest so much time of your life into someone else's creative process, you learn a lot about yourself in that process, but then you end up wanting to like know more, like where can it go if I kind of like step into a more serious role, that type of
Got you. All right. So then, okay. So you're not touring anymore, but I
no,
mean, now you have more time on your hand. So
absolutely.
what are you doing with that time? What is
Um,
new?
Apart from enjoying the fatherhood is amazing, enjoying the
Hmm.
joys of fatherhood and family. I have like a lot of things going on in Toronto. I have like my own Soca classes going on. That's pretty stable. I do it like once a month. It always has a nice turnout and it brings a nice community and vibe together. A stunt performer in the NBA with 6 tricks for the Toronto Raptors. Going on to my I'm just finishing up my third season in a 4 season run. And I'm always humble and grateful for the opportunity to really like take those steps for me. Those are steps that I'm taking for me and exploring where else my talent could take me. And I would say like the younger version of myself, looking ahead to where I am now, I have a sense of I feel proud.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. For sure. And even in this conversation already, I can hear your growth and development just
yeah,
from the conversation. Things have changed, and growth is part of life, and all of us have to change. Game Changers has improved since you were last there as well. So
absolutely.
you know advancement is all part of life, and I'm very proud of what I'm seeing, and we will hear a little bit more about that for sure after this break. All right, guys, so we're off to our first commercial break, and we'll be back with more Mars after this. You spend months planning for the perfect event. You have great guests, you have great speakers, and the event is a success. But in 24 hours, it's gone. But what if it doesn't have to be? Introducing Event Voices by Game Changers. We shoot a live podcast episode at your event, turning your speakers into content. We blend our production quality with your event. Your speakers plus our production quality and distribution equals more leads for everybody. For more information on how you can transform your event into something game-changing, contact us via the information on the screen. Hello, Game Changers. Over the years, you guys have consistently expressed how happy and how interested you are in the caliber of guests we feature on Game Changers. Well, now we're going to take it to the next level. These very same guests will now be instructors in an exclusive community, giving their insights and ideas to transform the game for your own business. we are launching two communities. The first of which is called Your Next Move. This is for entrepreneurs looking not just to make their enterprises profitable, but also to make it transformative. The second one is the Creatives Hub. This is for creatives looking to transform their art through the insights of practitioners who have been there before. This is not for everybody. It's only for those who are looking to transform their lives and truly elevate the game. So, if you're interested, follow Game Changers via the link to our Patreon today. All right, guys, welcome back to the Game Changers Hub podcast. And we're here with MarZ Anderson, the man himself. MarZ, before the break, you were telling me about the risk that you took, having to leave this team and go out on your own. Um, Tell me a little bit about how you're using social media now to advance your own personal business, your own personal brand. Because now you're very much, I mean, you used to manage your brand by yourself
Yeah, of course.
a lot before, but it's even more important that you manage your brand now. I know you have a YouTube page. I know you have you're heavy on
My
Instagram. I
Instagram,
follow
my
you on
Twitter.
IG, on
Oh,
Facebook.
yeah, it's crazy.
Tell me what you have to do now and how are you using it now to really establish your brand.
There's a lot of you have to invest in yourself. I feel
Got
like
you.
you spend so much of time working for other people, but you don't really spend that amount of time working for yourself. And when you do start putting in that work for yourself, you start really reaping the benefits. And social media is give you the platform to do so, right? It's give you like an opportunity for you to work for yourself real quick.
Mm.
And if you really go onto my social media, you really see this shift from um, me being like a backup dancer into me actually starting to choreograph one or two little things for myself and putting out one or two little pieces, little concepts. And those concepts are gonna grow and they're gonna get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Just like flourish in the industry. And the whole goal is to like pull everybody together and bring different like art forms and dance styles and all of that stuff together too. Especially from the Caribbean. So we had to big up the Caribbean.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah,
Always, always. Never forget where you're from, never forget home, never
absolutely.
forget the core. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. So then public perception now, because I mean Mars is no longer necessarily touring. He has a family, he has daddy duties. Just some insight to my audience. Just before we started recording, he had to run off to do some daddy duties. So he's very
Yeah, no
much
worries.
a family man, very much a family man. What exact image and professional brand are you trying to build for Mars Anderson now?
I think
Who
a
do
nice
you really want to be? Yeah,
I think a nice clean image. Something more professional, something that's more standard because I recently started like teaching in like schools and taking my brand to a more corporate level.
got you.
And within those corporate realms, they respect who I am as a personality. Um, and like it's just really to sculpt my brand around what is gonna be as I stand on my own 2 feet. You understand?
Got you.
Am I a choreographer? Am I a dancer? Am I a creative director? Am I a program director? Am I into marketing? It's all of these different creative roles. And I'm just umbrella, putting everything into one umbrella. And that's really what I'm doing now, and that's like my main focus. And I'll tell you something. Since I've done that, it's been like a solid year of just like creative work and like focusing on my creative processes and like selling my creative processes and my programs and stuff like that. And it's not only been a very great teaching year and a fruitful year, it's also been my most stable year. And I
Hmm.
think that only came within taking that risk of investing in myself there, or investing in
Got
myself. No, apart from like just my family and stuff like that.
right, and then you're in Canada, right? So you're in a market that is a bit different.
Yeah,
So you're bringing the Caribbean flavor to Canada. How has it been
absolutely.
navigating the Canadian market, though?
They definitely they show a lot of love. There's a huge
Okay,
Caribbean diaspora in Toronto where I am, and in Canada in general. And I feel like it's a lot of people that want to connect to their culture. And for me, coming from that culture, I am the gateway. I'm like the source, the source, not the source, the source,
Right, right.
right? Um,
Um,
and there really is like not just a market for it. There is just a space to invest in the community and just give people a space to come together and have that moment, carnival and release, and to just connect with your people. And I am the platform for that out here for the soca dance community. And I'm trying to connect with other cities and take it to like Montreal and
right.
Vancouver, other little provinces and bigger cities and stuff like that, just to see, what is the soca industry like over there? What's the dance industry like over there? And how we could actually plant our seed and make something grow in that city.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah,
So
man.
it's almost like a so have you considered like a franchising model? Like so you have this concept and then you maybe license it out to other teachers, or is it that Mars manages everything?
Yeah, actually built a few successful franchising models for
Okay.
good companies that are teaching dance to kids and kids with special needs, and
Ah,
um, directing programs that really I feel like is my way of giving back to the community. Um, and it's just a new direction. It's a new direction, and as you take those steps in those new directions, you just like learn new things about yourself and your craft.
for sure, for sure. That makes a lot of sense. All right, so we're due for our second break, and we'll be back with Mars after this break.
What if I told you I made all this with just CapCut? My name's Lion Elaton. I'm a professional filmmaker and an AI filmmaking pioneer. I grew up loving movies and TV, but I joined the Coast Guard out of high school and I got stationed in Alaska. Hollywood couldn't have felt further away, but I kept pursuing my filmmaking dreams. Then I discovered AI. 2 years ago, I created my first AI film using CapCut, and my career took off. I started Film Crux to help close the gap between indie filmmakers and Hollywood, so that people's only limitation was their own creativity and imagination. Essential to that is using CapCut because it's so versatile. So everything from being able to retouch humans, AI transcriptions, to tracking, to background removal with AI, it's all possible. You're no longer limited by your resources, and instead you can create something that's really as close to what you had in that initial spark of your vision. With CapCut, I get to live in the worlds that I imagine, and I get to bring you with me.
Creating videos can be tough, but it doesn't have to be. Let me show you how Veed makes it easy in just 3 steps. Step 1. Upload your video to Veed's platform. It's as simple as drag and drop, no tech skills needed. Step 2. Edit your video with powerful tools. Add text, music, and effects to make it pop. Step 3. Export your masterpiece in seconds. Share it with the world and watch your creativity shine. Want to try it out? Use code VEED20 for a discount. Stop stressing and start creating with Veed today.
All right, guys. So we're back with more Mars Anderson, and Mars, you were really delving into your growth and your development
Yeah, man.
right now. Um, but you kind of spoke about it a little bit earlier on. You wear so many hats. You're a choreographer, you're a creative director, you're a personal trainer, you're so many things. So first of all, how do you manage all those roles? And secondly, how do you manage all those revenue streams as well?
I think
So
it
that
comes
you can
from
be
time.
consistent. Mm-hmm.
My biggest challenge was balance. It was a lot of balancing everything and balancing who I am and with all these different hats that I wear. Choreographer Mars can't deal with things the way dancer Mars would have to receive things, the way creative director Mars would have to receive things. And I was working for one company in particular that had me wearing all of those hats at the same time. Um,
Wow.
Creating content here and choreographing stuff and teaching over there and delivering programs over here. And I'm doing all of these things and wearing all of these different hats when I could just be wearing one hat and pull all of those strings. Um, so it took me going through a year learning that to really solidify, okay, it's creative direction, it's program direction. And that's actually what I do now. That's like my main job.
Got you. All right, so then stepping out on your own, I mean, I know there must have been some challenges. So, what are some of the challenges that you face now, the new challenges?
It's definitely not your conventional 9 to 5 job. I feel like it's a lot of um it's a lot of learning and processes. It's like it's not hustle, it's systems. Um, and again, you leave working a 9 to 5 job and comfort, um, and take a risk to end up working for yourself for 24/7.
Right.
You know, and I feel like that shift in mindset. My employer, my boss, told me that recently. He was like, "Mars, shift your mentality from an employer's mentality to a boss's mentality." And in that shift of mentality alone, I was able to pull off, to actually get stuff done and execute what I was supposed to do. And I feel like it's just a change of mindset, you know?
Beautiful, beautiful. So now you really understand what it means to be in charge of your own destiny. In that
Absolutely.
regard.
And I feel like a lot of people in the industry chase down the dream of touring and wanting to be a backup dancer for like the best artist in the world.
Right.
Um, and you get the opportunity, and it really is an opportunity of a lifetime, and it is like a really good gig. It is a really good gig, and you have to ride that wave for as long as possible, and
Right.
make the best of the opportunity. But I feel like there is another aspect of the industry and who you are in that place, in that space, that you have to focus on for yourself. Because when touring is done, you have to be able to stand up on that. You understand?
Got you.
Yeah.
And what are some of the things that you would have learned from Marshall then, though? Because I mean, he's the if you think about Caribbean music, not just soca music, just Caribbean music in general, he's probably the gold standard as to somebody to
Absolutely.
learn from.
Absolutely.
So, what are some of the things you learned from him in terms of managing your own brand now?
Marshall, the biggest lesson Marshall has taught me is time management. Like, really, like, um, time is the most valuable thing that you have, and you should not squander it. You shouldn't waste your time, invest in like your craft and your talent, but you really have to invest with a purpose and understand the directions that you want to really step in, but then understand that you're also not in control at the same time. So, um, you know, it's very philosophical, um, and he's a very philosophical man. So a lot of the lessons that I take from him are in parables. And if I try to decipher that on this podcast with you all today, we'll be here till tomorrow. So
Right. Got you. Got you. All right. But I'm guessing. Well, I'm guessing. I know that you learned a lot from your time with him.
yeah, yeah. Time is the biggest lesson he taught me is that time is the most valuable thing that we have. You
For
know,
sure.
especially when you're doing things that's bringing people together, in happiness and in joy, and it's giving them a moment to release and forget the hardships of life. When you give that to people, that becomes your duty, and then it becomes a reoccurring duty, and then you become, you know, that becomes like almost like your purpose.
For sure. All
Yeah,
right. So then, how do you? I mean, I know that ultimately this is a business and you have to make money, right?
yeah, man.
But how do you balance your creativity and wanting to fall in love with the craft and
Mhm.
design with the financial demands of this industry? That I mean, you have to feed your family, your growing family, Mars.
Definitely.
So tell me how.
I think I've really found the stability in the creative direction. But every role you step into, you have to understand that it starts small. You understand?
Mhm.
A CEO is not built overnight. A CEO is a process and a continuously learning process, to master whatever you're doing. So dance in itself is something that you have to start off really small. You have to work on exposure. When I really look back at Trinidad now, and I look at the next generation of dancers now, I could really see the ones that are actually working on trying to get the exposure and doing the endorsements and the brand ambassadorships, and all of these things to really get their face out there. And I don't really want to call a few names, but I could if I want to. Um, but that's the kind of fire that is actually get you to where you need to be. For example, then LaShawn Prescott recently came to Toronto, yeah, to do a dance workshop with Cache Dance Company for their spring intensive. And she came out with a student from the University of Trinidad and Tobago, Academy for Performing Arts, where she lectures,
Mm-hmm.
that was dancing with her in the workshop. And I remember when I was like that student, I was that student back in 2013, that came to Canada and, do the little dance intensives and stuff like that. And you just really have to continue building it, building it until you really realize that it's not just a gig to gig basis. You're doing this thing for you. Like you actually need to figure out the business aspect behind it to be able to sustain your bills and budget yourself. And for me, even though sustain a family now and all of that. So,
Got you. All right. So then, as you're building this thing, right? I know you'd have made some mistakes along the way. We all make
of course,
mistakes.
yeah,
S-
man.
So, what are some of the challenge? Well, not just the challenges, but the mistakes you made, and what should creatives in this industry looking to follow you maybe look out for?
In terms of mistakes, boy, nobody perfect. Everybody will make mistakes and everybody will stumble along their path. I don't really think is the mistake that you make. I think it's how you bounce back from the mistake.
Agreed.
Um, if I had to focus on anything based on the question you just asked, I think in this industry, in entertainment, it is not pretty. You understand? There's a lot of ugly truths of the industry that you'd have to face. Um, and you have to be able to be resilient enough to bounce back from situations like that that'll make you feel like you're not good enough. um, and just like find a route and create your own lane. You understand? There's so much different um, routes that you could take as a dancer if you really want to live your dreams and actually do this thing seriously. Um, I see a big platform for it in Trinidad. It's just started with Hip Hop Internationals. The competition looks like it's being well invested into. Um, and a lot of my friends that I competed with back in the days when I used to go to Hip Hop Internationals are judges now. So that's a big step forward for everyone.
Right.
Um, but little things like that would then give the dance industry a little platform for to work towards. It'll give the dancers other something to work towards and something to strive to and try to win. And those little things just give you platforms to level up yourself. And it's just about consistency and leveling up. Consistency and leveling up.
Right. So even if you make errors along the way, I mean, like you said, it's
You
about
have to have
how you
that
bounce back.
bounce back.
How,
Yeah.
how you bounce back.
And like create your own lane. That resilience is turning into like you doing your own thing, and you just end up creating your own lane and like sticking to it. You know, you know.
Got you. All right, bro. So we're coming close to the end. If you had
Mhm.
to advise a young creative who is trying to turn their raw talent into a sustainable year-round business like you've done now, what is the very first step they should take?
I actually think turning your skill and your talent into a paycheck is an actual skill itself. Like
Mhm.
that's like something that needs to be studied on its own. If you have the ability to turn your talent into a paycheck, you have a gift. You have a gift amongst everyone that it's not an easy thing to do. And everyone that's an entrepreneur or that has started a brand or that's a creative in this industry that really works hard to really put their brand forward. That is not an easy task, and you really again, as I say, is end up working for yourself 24/7,
Right.
you know, and balance and all of that. So
Got you. Got you. All right. So looking forward into the future, looking forward into, I don't know, let's say the next 5 years for Mars. What do you expect in the future? What do you want to become in the future? I should say.
I don't know. I think I have a couple different things that I want to do as a performer before I just like say that I'm done with performing. There's a few more stages that I feel like I want to hit. Actually, as a dancer from the Caribbean, I've danced in a lot of like big international arenas, and it ended up turning into after doing Barclays like the second time with Mash, into a thing where I felt like, all right, I need to perform on these stages, these major stages, not just for me but for Trinidad as a
Right.
dancer, um, to pave our path. So when I say big stages, like Coachella, like something crazy like that, like a big music awards or something like that. Or that's just like as a performer.
Right.
In the next 5 or so years, I wouldn't mind doing my masters as a dancer, as a professional, and go back to the training. Um, beat some books again, and I wouldn't mind lecturing. Eventually becoming like a lecturer or something. But studying and going back to school and balancing family and work and my brand and all of that. That's a different conversation.
For sure, for sure, for sure. All right, bro. So we do look forward to that from you. Whatever path it actually takes. I just want you to know that Game Changers is always a home for you. We always look forward to hearing from you. And yeah, man, keep up what you're doing, and we will see you when you come back.
Big
So
love to you guys. Don't know. Anytime it's always good to be in the building. Quinn, big up yourself. Keep doing your thing. Keep pushing the bar. Keep having the conversations. Keep starting the conversations, bro. I look forward to keeping up with your journey as well, man.
for sure, for sure.
Big up yourself.
Anyhow, guys, this has been yet another amazing Game Changers episode. Game Changers is available wherever you get your podcast. Remember to like, subscribe, and follow wherever you get your podcast. We are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and obviously here on YouTube as well. Anyhow, stay hungry, and I'll see you next time.